Nobody saw this headline coming, and that's exactly why the internet exploded the second it started circulating. Young Thug arrested for a probation violation after TMZ reportedly paid for bodycam footage. That sentence alone sounds like the opening scene of a movie, but for fans, this felt bigger than gossip. It felt personal. It felt like another chapter in a story that many believed was finally calming down. Because just when people thought the storm around Young Thug might be settling, a new wave of controversy appeared, and here's where it gets even stranger. Social media is saying the bodycam footage may have triggered new scrutiny. Some people think the release of that footage created pressure behind the scenes. Others believe this could be tied to probation conditions nobody fully understood. Unconfirmed reports suggest there may be more to the story than what the headlines are showing, but nothing is confirmed. Still, that didn't stop fans from reacting. Within minutes, timelines were flooded. Wait, how does body cam footage lead to a probation violation? That can't be the full story. Something feels off. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high, and social media is going crazy trying to figure out whether this is a misunderstanding, a legal technicality, or something much deeper happening behind closed doors. Because if true, this changes everything. Was this a simple probation issue? Was this an overreaction fueled by media attention? Or did the release of footage expose something authorities couldn't ignore? That's where the mystery begins. And what really has people talking is the timing. Because many fans believe timing in situations like this is never random. Why now? Why after footage surfaced? And why are people close to the culture moving so carefully when discussing it? People are divided. Some think it's just another legal hurdle. Others think this could signal bigger problems. And if the theories online are even partially true, this may be way more complicated than anyone realizes. Stay locked in, because the deeper you go into this story, the stranger it gets. The headlines hit fast, but the confusion hit even faster. One moment, fans were talking about music, possible releases, and what the future looked like for Young Thug, and the next, social media was going crazy over reports tied to an alleged probation violation and controversy surrounding bodycam footage reportedly obtained after TMZ paid for access. When almost instantly, emotions ran high. Fans were shocked, people were divided, and before anyone could separate fact from rumor, the internet had already turned the situation into a full-blown mystery. What made this feel bigger than just another celebrity headline was the timing. For many supporters, Young Thug had been viewed as someone trying to move through a long and complicated legal storm. So when whispers started spreading about possible trouble involving probation, many people didn't want to believe it. Some fans immediately questioned whether the reports were being exaggerated. Others started asking a much darker question: why was bodycam footage becoming part of the story at all? That's where things got strange. According to early discussion online, the real spark wasn't even the alleged violation itself, as it was the claim that media interest, specifically the bodycam footage angle, may have intensified public attention around the case. Social media is saying the footage changed the entire tone of the conversation. Instead of a routine legal update, people began treating it like a scandal. Some people think the footage release made everything look more dramatic than it may have been. Nothing is confirmed, but that theory spread fast. And once fan pages picked it up, the speculation exploded. "This can't be real," one user posted. "Why does it feel like someone wants this to look worse than it is?" Another wrote. Comments like that were everywhere. Within hours, the narrative split into different directions. Some believed this was simply a probation issue being handled through normal legal channels. and others believed something much bigger was happening behind the scenes. Fans believed the body cam footage itself could become a major piece of the controversy, not necessarily because of what it showed, but because of how it entered public conversation. That distinction mattered, and people noticed. Then came the emotional reaction from supporters. For longtime fans, this wasn't just another rap headline, it felt personal. Young Thug's name carries weight in hip hop, and every development involving him tends to trigger strong reactions. Some fans defended him immediately, saying the public was rushing to judgment. Others admitted they were worried, fearing even a minor issue could be blown into something more serious. And that fear started feeding the rumors. The unconfirmed reports suggest people close to the situation were monitoring how the story was unfolding online. Nothing is confirmed, but social media users began analyzing every post, every deleted comment, every silence from people associated with Thug. In today's internet culture, even someone not posting can become part of the story. And then another layer of tension appeared. People began asking whether this was really about a violation or whether the media storm itself was becoming the bigger event. That question changed everything. Because once people stopped focusing only on the legal angle and started looking at the optics, the conversation became much more emotional. Fans are shocked not just by the allegations, but by how fast the story escalated. Some people think the footage being publicized created a pressure cooker effect, in where speculation began moving faster than facts. And that's when social media truly went into chaos. TikTok clips started circulating. Reaction channels began posting theories. Hip hop pages pushed cryptic captions like "something feels off." Even people who weren't following the case closely started paying attention. And in the middle of all that noise, one question kept repeating: what actually happened? Was this a straightforward probation issue being sensationalized online? Was the body cam footage creating a narrative bigger than reality? Or was there something deeper the public still didn't know? Nobody seemed to have a clear answer. And perhaps the most dramatic part was the silence. No explosive statement, no immediate clarification, just headlines, reactions, rumors, one in millions of people trying to connect dots with incomplete information. That silence made everything louder, because in hip hop, silence often creates its own storyline. Fans believe that when answers don't come quickly, theories take over. And that is exactly what seemed to happen here. Emotions ran high. People were divided. Some saw a routine legal development, others saw the beginning of something much more serious. And as the conversation kept growing, another unsettling possibility started floating around online. What if the footage wasn't the end of the story? What if it was only the beginning? Just when people thought the story had already reached its peak, the tension got even heavier. What started as confusion quickly turned into full-blown chaos as more reactions flooded in. Was in social media began moving faster than the facts. Fans were shocked by how rapidly the conversation changed. At first, people were debating whether the alleged probation issue was being exaggerated, but now, attention was shifting towards something much more dramatic. The possibility that the body cam footage itself could trigger consequences nobody saw coming. That idea sent the internet into overdrive. Fans believe certain moments from the reported footage were being dissected frame by frame across social platforms, with users claiming they noticed details others missed. Some people think ordinary moments were being turned into evidence of something bigger. Others argued the public was reading far too much into limited information. Nothing is confirmed, but those theories spread like wildfire. And then the reactions became emotional. "Ooh, this feels like a setup," one viral comment claimed. "No, this looks serious," another person responded. People were divided, and every new opinion seemed to make the story even messier. Then came the first major twist. Unconfirmed reports suggest people close to the situation may have been frustrated with how the footage entered public discussion in the first place. That rumor alone added fuel to an already burning fire. Social media is saying the issue was no longer just about what happened, but about who benefited from the footage becoming a headline. That question changed the energy completely, because now fans weren't only talking about probation, they were talking about motives. Why did this surface now? Why did it become so public so fast? And why did it feel like every update created more questions instead of answers? Those questions pushed the story into a darker space. Reaction channels began suggesting this could have implications beyond what the public understands. Some people think even minor misunderstandings can become major legal concerns when someone is already under intense scrutiny. Fans believe the pressure surrounding the case may be making every small detail feel much bigger than it actually is. Nothing is confirmed, but once that possibility entered the conversation, emotions ran high. Then social media went even crazier when old clips, past interviews, and previous legal commentary started resurfacing. Suddenly, people were connecting unrelated moments, building theories, and treating speculation like clues in a mystery. One post would claim the situation was being blown out of proportion. Another would suggest the footage could lead to something serious, and with every new theory, the audience grew. Even people outside hip hop started paying attention, because now this didn't feel like just rap news. It felt unpredictable. Then another twist hit. Some fans began pointing out what they saw as unusual silence from certain industry figures. People noticed who had spoken out and who hadn't. In hip hop, that kind of silence often sparks suspicion. Social media is saying the lack of public support from certain corners raised eyebrows. Some people think that silence means nothing. Others believe it could mean people know more than they are saying. Again, nothing is confirmed, but the speculation was getting louder. One live stream discussing the situation reportedly drew huge numbers, with commenters arguing back and forth in real time. "He'll be fine," one person wrote. "You don't know that," someone replied. That tension captured exactly where public opinion stood, split down the middle. And then came what many saw as the most alarming development yet. Fans believed the narrative itself was starting to take on the life of its own. In other words, the story was no longer being driven by confirmed events. It was being driven by momentum. And momentum online can be dangerous, because once millions of people start repeating theories, those theories begin feeling real, whether they are verified or not. That's what made this moment so volatile. The facts seemed unclear, the reactions were explosive, and the pressure kept building. Then whispers started circulating about whether more footage, more documents, or more information could surface. Unconfirmed reports suggest people online were anticipating another reveal. Nothing is confirmed, but that rumor created a new wave of suspense. Because if more was coming, what would it show? Would it calm the chaos or make everything worse? That question hung over the entire conversation, and at this point, even supporters who had stayed calm were beginning to sound uneasy. Fans are shocked, not only by the allegations, but by how quickly the situation appeared to be spiraling in public view. Some people think the real story hasn't even surfaced yet. Others believe the drama is being manufactured by internet speculation. People are divided. And right when it seemed the noise could not get any louder, a new theory started spreading. What if the bodycam footage was only one piece of a much larger puzzle? And the biggest revelation hadn't come out yet. By this point, the story had moved far beyond headlines and online reactions. What began as confusion had turned into something much heavier because now the conversation was centered on what might be happening behind closed doors. And for many fans, that was where the real tension began. People were no longer just asking whether there was an alleged probation issue. They were asking what conversations might be taking place privately while the public watched everything unfold in real time. That uncertainty made emotions run even higher. Fans believe there may have been urgent discussions happening out of public view. Some people think legal teams, close associates, under people connected to the situation may have been trying to understand what this controversy could mean. Nothing is confirmed, but the idea of unseen pressure added a whole new level of suspense. Because once people imagine what is happening behind the scenes, speculation grows fast. Phone calls, emergency meetings, private reactions, last minute decisions. Social media is saying all of those possibilities became part of the story, whether grounded in fact or not, and that changed the mood. Earlier, the conversation had been chaotic. Now it felt tense, even emotional. Fans are shocked because many had hoped the turbulence surrounding Young Thug was fading, not returning in another form. For some supporters, this felt like watching progress suddenly get interrupted. That emotional response was everywhere. There's one comment that spread fast read, "Every time it looks like things calm down, something pulls him back in." That sentiment hit hard because it captured a fear many people were already feeling. Then another wave of theories surfaced. Some people think the public may be misunderstanding what body cam footage can or cannot mean in a legal context. Others believe social media may be amplifying assumptions that have little connection to reality. Nothing is confirmed, but those conflicting ideas created even deeper division. People were no longer arguing over one narrative. They were arguing over completely different versions of reality. One side believed authorities must have had a reason to act. The other side believed the public lacked enough information to reach any conclusion. People are divided, as in neither side seemed willing to back down. That tension only grew when some fans began discussing a broader issue: whether intense public scrutiny changes how situations involving major artists are perceived. That discussion pushed this story into even deeper territory, because now the conversation was not just about Young Thug, it was about the system around him: media pressure, public narratives, legal interpretation, and how those things may collide. That made the story feel much bigger than one headline. Then came another possible twist that sent speculation into overdrive. Unconfirmed reports suggest there may be details not yet publicly understood that could reshape how the situation is viewed. Nothing is confirmed, but that rumor spread because people were desperate for answers. And once the idea of missing information entered the conversation, every silence started feeling suspicious. Every delay felt meaningful. Every unanswered question felt intentional. That is when suspense reached another level, because uncertainty often creates stronger reactions than facts. And online, uncertainty was everywhere. Some people think what the public has seen so far may only be a fraction of the full picture. Others believe there's no hidden layer at all, and fans are simply overanalyzing a routine legal development. Again, people were divided, but then something changed. The loudest voices started becoming more cautious. Commentators who had rushed to strong opinions began adding disclaimers. Fans who had been certain started asking questions instead. That shift did not lower the tension, it increased it. Because when confident voices suddenly sound uncertain, people assume something changed, and many fans noticed. Social media is saying the caution itself may be a clue. Some people think people close to the story may have urged restraint. Others think commentators simply realized speculation was spiraling too far. Nothing is confirmed. But that sudden shift in tone made people pay even closer attention. Then a phrase started circulating that captured the entire mood. This is bigger than we think. Nobody knew exactly what it meant, but it spread because it reflected the anxiety surrounding the situation. And in stories like this, anxiety often fuels the next twist. Because once people believe there may be more happening than they can see, they start expecting a major reveal. And that expectation can transform ordinary developments into dramatic turning points. That is exactly where the story stood. Not resolved, not clarified, only growing more intense. Fans were watching every rumor, every reaction, every silence, trying to figure out what came next. And just when it seemed the speculation had reached its limit, a new possibility began gaining traction. What if everyone had been focused on the wrong question this entire time, and the real story had not even surfaced yet? Just when it seemed the speculation had gone as far as it could go, the story took another turn that made everything even more uncertain. Because after days of reactions, theories, and non-stop social media chaos, a new possibility began circulating that changed the entire conversation. Oh, and what if this controversy had been misunderstood from the beginning? That single question hit the internet like a shockwave, because if true, it meant people may have been reacting to a version of events that was incomplete. Fans were shocked by how quickly the tone shifted. Earlier, people were focused on what the alleged probation issue could mean. Now, some people think the bigger issue may be whether the public rushed to conclusions too early. Social media is saying the original narrative may have grown larger than the facts available. Others believe there is still a serious issue unfolding, and that the confusion itself is proof something deeper is happening. Nothing is confirmed, but once people started questioning the entire premise of the story, everything changed. Fans began revisiting every headline, every rumor, every theory. And suddenly, the assumptions that once seemed solid started looking fragile. Some people think the bodycam footage may have been interpreted too dramatically by the internet. Others believe the footage may still become significant in ways not yet understood. People are divided more than ever, and that division made the suspense even stronger. Because now this was no longer simply a story about what happened. It had become a story about what people believe happened. And those are two very different things. That realization created the biggest twist yet. Because once perception itself becomes part of the controversy, the story becomes almost impossible to predict. Then came another wave of speculation that pushed things even further. Unconfirmed reports suggest the legal reality behind the headlines may be far more procedural than dramatic. Nothing is confirmed, but some fans believe what appears explosive publicly may, in reality, be far more technical. That theory immediately created conflict online. Some people embraced it. Maybe this got blown out of proportion, one comment claimed. Others rejected it instantly. No way this is that simple, another replied. That tension reflected exactly where public opinion stood, split, uncertain, watching closely. Then another possibility began circulating that took the mystery to another level. What if everyone has been focused on the wrong issue entirely? That theory spread fast, because some people think The alleged probation discussion may be distracting from another factor nobody fully understands yet. And social media is saying there could be details still unknown that may completely change how this story is viewed. Others believe that idea is pure internet speculation. Again, nothing is confirmed, but once the idea of a hidden angle enters the conversation, suspense grows on its own because people start looking for clues everywhere, in silence, in timing, in missing explanations, and fans were doing exactly that. Then something strange happened. Instead of the story becoming clearer with time, it seemed to become more complicated, and that unsettled people, because usually, as days pass, confusion starts fading. Here, confusion seemed to deepen. Fans are shocked not just by the controversy itself, but by how little certainty exists around it. Some people think the unanswered questions suggest more developments could still come, when others believe the lack of answers simply reflects a story being inflated beyond reality. People are divided, and the divide keeps growing. Then one final theory emerged that may be the most dramatic of all. What if this moment is not the climax, but the setup for something bigger still ahead? That idea has people watching every update closely, because if this is only the beginning, then every new development could change everything. Will more information surface? Will public understanding shift completely? Will the theories collapse once facts become clearer? Or will those theories prove closer to reality than people expected? Right now, nobody seems to know. And that uncertainty has become the heartbeat of the story, because unresolved drama keeps people watching. It keeps fans talking. It keeps speculation alive. And in this case, the biggest mystery may not be what happened, it may be what happens next. That is why so many people remain locked in. Because whether this turns out to be a misunderstood legal development, a major turning point, or something far more complicated, one thing is clear: the story does not feel finished, not even close. And as social media continues going crazy, as fans remain shocked, and as people stay divided over what any of this truly means, one haunting question still hangs over everything. What if the biggest revelation in this entire controversy has not surfaced yet? So, where does this leave the story now? After all the headlines, the rumors, the reactions, and the non-stop social media chaos, one thing is clear: there are still more questions than answers. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and people are divided over what this situation really means. Some people think this was a misunderstood legal issue that got amplified by media attention. Others believe the bodycam footage, the timing, and the growing speculation point to something much deeper happening behind the scenes. But the truth is, nothing is confirmed beyond what has been publicly reported. And that matters, because in situations like this, rumors move fast. Social media can turn theories into facts overnight, even when the full story has not surfaced. And right now, that seems to be exactly why so many people are still watching closely. Was this simply a probation issue that spiraled into a bigger controversy? Did the bodycam footage change how everything was viewed? Was public pressure part of what made this story explode? Or is there still a major twist nobody sees coming? That is what fans cannot stop debating, and honestly, that may be why this story is far from over. Because until there is real clarity, the speculation will continue, the theories will keep spreading, and people will keep trying to connect dots that may or may not even belong together. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened? Do you think this situation is being misunderstood? Do you think fans are onto something with these theories? Or do you believe social media has blown this way out of proportion? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because I want to know where you stand. And if you want more dramatic rap news breakdowns, deep dives, and updates on every twist in stories like this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because if new details emerge, you already know we'll be covering it.